Hi, I'm Sven DeGongia, and I wail like a cat and sometimes sing in the band.
Hello, my name is Brandon Taylor, and I play the bass.
What's up? I'm Trey, and I play guitar.
The way we met is we kind of go way back, but we weren't super close back then. Monday Nation, you were playing in memory, and we played a gig at what was that? That was the basement, right? That's what they call it, Brewco, the basement.
Oh yeah, this is funny.
Um,
And the singer we had, he just wanted to do other things. And so myself and the rest of the band, Trey, guitars, Ryan, our drummer, he's not here today, but we were looking for a singer once again. And it wasn't our idea to reach out to Sven. It was through another friend. He was like, hey, what about Sven? And I was like, yeah, man, we should. And I was like, I don't know, man, because I tried talking to Sven like a couple years ago, back in like 2019. And he was more focused on school and stuff. He didn't really seem like he had a lot of time for music. And I was like, well, let's just reach out to him. So I think I shot you a Facebook message. Mm-hmm. And I was like, he's not going to reply, or he is going to reply, and it's going to be like some long-winded excuse, And long story short, he was like, no, man, let's do something. And he came over to the basement. This is where we practice. And yeah, here we are. Through a couple good band meetings, and we just started rehearsing, and that was last summer. So yeah. Here we are.
And I met Trey and Ryan as soon as we started the project, and
yeah,
it's been good. It's been a good click.
Yeah.
So
that's how we met.
Yeah. Outside of the band, I am an IT guy at a community college here in Bowling Green, Sky CTC. Highly recommended. And I come home and I play with my dogs, and not much else really.
So what do I do outside of the band? So my 9 to 5, I work as a manager at the Humane Society here in Bowling Green. Adopt out dogs, veterinary services, all that good stuff. Since my time there, I've taken home 4 pets from that place. 3 tabby cats, Ozzy, Ollie, and Sally. And then 1 dog. He's a Newfoundland Retriever mix. His name is Samson. And when I'm not at work, I'm not jamming with these guys, I'm practicing at home. I enjoy hiking, hanging out with the old lady, and yeah, man, just kind of chilling,
Outside of music, man, I pretty much just work. I work at a body shop, and I fix broken cars. And then I go home and I play guitar. And that's life. That's where I'm at.
All 4 of us, we basically made it a mission, like we had on our phone notes, like we were just coming up with band names, by ourselves, and then we would share them with the group. Sometimes, Trey would send 2 or 3 band names, and we'd be like, I like this one, but this sucks. And then sometimes Shootman, our drummer, would send 10, like, oh, those all suck,
We could say that because he's not here right now.
Right.
We'll see this later.
And I was listening to the band Faith No More, like the, Faith No More is. One of their bigger songs called Epic. And there's a line, and it goes, it feels so good, it's like walking on glass. And I was like, dude, that's dope. And I've listened to that song 1,000 times, Faith No More rocks. And I was like, feels so good, it's like walking on glass, Glasswalker. And I was like, I think it was a part of like 5 or 10 band names I submitted to the group chat, and Glasswalker, it was like one of the contenders finally, we had like 5, I think. And even then, we still weren't sold on it.
Mm-hmm.
And Lily, my girlfriend, she's a great photographer. She takes a lot of our band photos, and she came down to one of our rehearsals and took some rehearsal photos. And when she named all of like the photo album to send to us, I had like the edited pictures and whatnot, she was like, your band name is Glasswalker, it's been decided. Because even then we still couldn't decide.
Yeah,
and
she was the tiebreaker.
Right, yeah, exactly. We took a group vote, and it was like Glasswalker and 3 or 4 other band names, and she was the tiebreaker, and here we are, it worked out.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Naming. I could name a child easier than I could name a band.
All right, so what musicians inspired me? It's obviously a long list, but to keep it clear and concise, I got two guys that come to mind, like top of the list, and that's Jason Newsted, former bass player of Metallica, and Rex Brown, bass player in Pantera. I basically ripped those guys off clean as a whistle. Both play with a pick, both play aggressive, both just kind of, they try their best to own their piece of the stage when they're, playing live. And I looked up to that as a kid. I watched countless live videos of both of those guys and those bands. And I even, sometimes I'm on rides home from work, I'll just Google or get on YouTube and look up their isolated bass tracks from their records and just listen to their playing, their tone, the grit, what they're doing in the song. So those two guys I look up to the most.
So the musicians that I think I look up to the most, probably vocally, I'll say like Miles Kennedy, Chris Cornell, a lot of those 90s guys, Maynard James Keenan from Tool, Chris Cornell obviously of Soundgarden, you got Miles Kennedy of Alter Bridge. Guitar wise, I love just fast riffs that are fun, energetic, melodic. So the guys in Mastodon, the guys from Metallica, of course. I think if Metallica's not on your list, you don't play rock music, Man, yeah, guitar-wise, I think that just fast-paced melodic stuff. It's good.
Nice.
All right, so my I think biggest musical influences guitar players. The first one would be, I guess, my first ever introduction to rock music would be AC/DC. So Angus Young, Malcolm Young, them two dudes. I don't listen to them so much anymore, but without ever hearing those guys, I probably would never have picked up a guitar. These days, I'm listening to a lot of heavier stuff. Martin Morton and Willie Adler from Lamb of God Lamb of God's my favorite band. So those two guys are, way up. The dudes in Gojira, I'm not gonna try to butcher their names. Who else? I listen to a lot of like really heavy stuff like Meshuggah. Them guys, there's the stuff that they write and the way that their rhythm and riffs and all that stuff kind of line up is insane to me. So them guys are pretty high up on my list. And I could keep going, but those are some big ones. Those are some primary ones.
Man, more.
Action.
So what is Glasswalker? Who is Glasswalker? So Glasswalker is 4 individuals taking their influences and writing the best music we can. And that music, as of right now, is coming out to be pretty much just good old American, like heavy metal. But it's like also, you got heavy metal influences, hard rock influences, alternative influences, and then even would you call it death metal influences? Like some of the riff writing?
A little bit.
Yeah, no, that's pushing it a little.
Stretch, but yeah.
As far as the riffs go,
Yeah.
I would say all of our influences being from classic bands like Slayer, Aerosmith, to modern bands like Chevelle, Deftones, Gojira, and all those bands in between. So taking all those influences and channeling it into one unit is Glasswalker.
So, funny story about me actually getting a guitar. I got into it a little bit sarcastically. One of my best friends played guitar. I never even really picked one up other than playing Guitar Hero. And I go over to his house and hang out, and I can see you making faces.
You got it, dude.
And so anyway, I would just pick his up and just mess around with it. And one day he showed me, I think, how to play the opening clean riff to Enter Sandman. And I got it. Once I finally got it, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this all the time now. So I think I borrowed his guitar and amp for like a month, and then the following tax season, I bought my first guitar and amp, and I haven't put them down since.
So the way I got into music was I ended up watching Back to the Future, and the scene where Marty goes back to prom with his parents' prom or whatever, and he starts playing the guitar and shredding over Johnny Be Good was hilarious to me. So I picked up my dad's guitar that he got from some pawn shop or Flealand or something like that, flea market. Messed around with it, ended up taking lessons, and my guitar teacher, Bobby Baldwin, the late great Bobby Baldwin, he told me about the Kentucky Blues Society, which threw these jams for kids. They call them teen jams. We'd get together, just get up on a stage, sound horrible, talk about it later, and then we would form bands and stuff like that. That's actually how I started my first band. And then after that, we couldn't find a singer because we were all 12 and 13 and nobody knew how to sing. So I ended up just having to take that over after a while, and I just tried to improve on it the best I could, and I do okay. So I'm happy about it, but that's how I got it.
So how I got my start in music. My mom was married to this guy back in 2004, 5. He had a son, and he was 2 or 3 years older than me. At that time, I was in 8th grade, and I think he was a sophomore in high school. And, you know, just, you're so influential at that young age, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't play music, you know, I was just being a teenager, you know, young teenager, just kind of looking to, you know, get into something. And when I met him, he played guitar, he was into all these cool bands. Like at that time, I was listening to like country and stuff, and like even a little bit of rap. And he was listening to Nirvana and AFI and all these, again, these cool bands. And he was actually a pretty good guitar player. And I was like, dude, like this is so cool. Like, and I was trying to be really cool with him and like as friendly as possible. So I was trying to get into that stuff, which he didn't like because, you know, I was this annoying younger stepbrother that he didn't want anything to do with. And I ended up getting a drum set to play with him. And by the time I got that drum set, because drums were expensive, my mom and that dude had split up. But anyway, that guy gave me that foundation and that entry into music, and I started playing drums for like less than a year. But my other best friend played the drums, and I realized he was way better than I'll ever be on drums. So then I was like, well shit, what do I get next? And I was like, a bass guitar, it's the easiest instrument. And yeah, and plus all my other friends played guitar and drums. So I was like, all right, let's get the bass. So my first bass was this First Act Walmart bass. These guys are laughing at me.
Sorry.
And that's how I got playing music. It's so funny. So follow us on social media, Facebook and Instagram, it's Glasswalker Music. And then TikTok is also Glasswalker Music. Twitter, Glasswalker KY.